thoughts about Lindor's injury? Are you concerned?
Um, yeah, just because of allegedly they don't even know that much about it. So, whether they're telling us the truth or not, it's a concerning situation. Um, it just like I feel like just from the looks of it of what happened, like I know granted anything can happen, but like him just hitting the base and causing severe damage is just like how does that even really happen? But
Yeah.
it was a cold night or whatever. I don't know, like stuff can happen. You know what I mean? But that's obviously a big blow, and right when you get Soto back as well, then the same night you lose Lindor for they're saying a long extended period of time. So you know, um, that definitely is a hit to the offense and
Yeah,
the
because
team. Yeah,
he was 9 of his last
yeah, he was
25, so
definitely
he was
heating
hot.
up. Yeah, yeah. So it definitely sucks. But this is hopefully the other guys can kind of step up. I know Brett Beatty has been playing better. Um, you know, hopefully Ronnie can kind of really
Settle
step
in.
up and take a hold of shortstop. I know he had some issues last night, and that's all you go hope for. I mean, we don't really know what's going on because they don't even know allegedly themselves.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, my biggest concern is that once I seen the injury, I was like, all right, we're looking at like when he rounded the base and started grimacing. I was like, okay, could be a hamstring, could be whatever it is. But once he slid into home plate, then I was just like, okay, because he's sitting there, he's holding it. Now I'm concerned about two things because when you have a severe calf strain, then now I have to start asking questions about what's the state of the Achilles because everything is attached. That whole area, if you're starting to have some type of calf problems, normally there's some Achilles problems that are going on right now. So if that's the case, then we are looking at an extended time that he's going to be out because that needs to heal. And if it's more closer to a grade 3, then his season's over. You know what I mean? And if you're the Mets, this guy's under contract for some years still. You may want to take it easy with him. That you may not want to rush him back because if God forbid anything happens and that Achilles snaps, you're now without your star shortstop for a whole year. Obviously there's technology where guys are coming back earlier now, but it's just there's a lot that's riding on this thing. And for them to not know exactly the severity just because there's probably a lot of inflammation, they need to see exactly what it looks like when the inflammation goes down to see exactly what the state of the entire leg looks like to see if there is some damage down there. If it's just isolated to the calf area, you know, there's a lot of concern here, and Lindor has never been a guy that's been very hurt in his career. He's never been on the IL for that many times in his career. But we are talking about somebody that's now into his 30s, right? Like playing a premier position that he's still a top 4 defensive player at. There's concern. He's going to start to wear down, and that's just the way the game is. Father Time waits for no man, and you're only going to be at top of the game for so long, and that concerns me as well. Is because we need to make sure that we're building a contender and a winner for the type of players that we have. Lindor is a cornerstone player, but he's not as young as Soto is. So if your goal or your objective is not to win a World Series right away, then you might have to start having different conversations about Lindor, right? Where he might not be here long term because you're not in the position to win for the next 4 years. We can't wait for that. You know what I mean?
yeah, it makes no sense for this team to have both Lindor and Soto and not be playoff World Series contenders every single year. Like this
You
is
gotta,
why you
yeah,
have them.
you gotta go in every season like you're winning the World Series. Whoever is out there is a big fish. You got to try to get them. It's just the way it is. It sounds like you're playing Monopoly, but you have to try to accumulate as much talent as possible while still developing the farm system, because that's what the Dodgers do. The Dodgers spend a ton of money, right? But they also have one of the best farm systems in baseball that they can be able to just pluck from. Yeah, well, I think, if the Padres want to get rid of Mason Miller, we can go get him if we want to. And they literally can. They get anybody they want to.
Yeah.
So that's the power of being able to have such a well-oiled machine in your organization. It's crazy. It's really crazy, man. So there's a lot of concern here, and I know David Stearns feels it internally, because there's different questions that you now have to answer that you did not want to answer before. Is Lindor part of our future? Like, do we need to start having more conversations? I want Lindor here. He's my favorite player on this team. I want him to be here. But if the game plan is switching in regards to what the priority is, if you're playing the long game, then that might not align with Lindor being here.